Lynn, you've been involved in the adult community further education sector for some time now. Do you want to tell us a little bit about your transition from your former career and when and how that happened into ACE?
I started in the ACE sector probably in the early 90s. I'd had a fair bit of things to do with community houses and the community sector in my previous job, which was in local government. But as far as the training side of it is concerned, I didn't start that until after my son went to school and I had a little bit more free time. I started doing training at TAFE and just got into it that way, and then I started at Kunara around about 1997. I was always interested in training. My previous career was as a kindergarten teacher, so it seemed like a fairly natural direction for me to go in.
Now, you would have seen a lot of changes in the sector from when you entered in the 90s, and I'm thinking one of the really obvious ones is technology and the use of technology in training and adult learning.
When I first began, everything was in a face-to-face class. We used whiteboards, we used lots of butcher's paper and no technology at all, actually. Most people didn't even have email when we started, so the telephone was used as a means of communication pretty much 100% of the time, or snail mail, as it's now called. Yeah. Things were posted out to students, whereas over the years now technology has come to play a big part, and in fact, as in our sector now, e-learning has now become fairly well accepted.
Lynn Gibb from Kunara Community House has been an amazing colleague to work with. She's been, I guess, my counterpart in the Eastern region, and she's been a real champion for the sector and for e-learning. I think I first met Lynn when she joined us in a project called Can You Hear Us, which was an exploration of voice tools in the classroom. It's been great to watch Kunara just take e-learning, by the scruff of the neck and make it work. And I know she's worked with Leanne Fitzgerald as well, and they've been really close and strategic in the way they've worked.
One of the things that separates old style e-learning from the new style e-learning is that when it first evolved, students were sitting in front of computers and reading a screen and just sitting typing, and it was incredibly dull, boring, and suited only a very small number of students. Mm-hmm. Whereas these days, there is a lot of interaction between the facilitator and the student. There's real live time conversations in online classrooms, in online forums.
So you can pretty much replicate a regular classroom in an online environment and capture what's good about people working together, can you?
We have here at Kunara an online classroom that we subscribe to, and this means that students can be in their own homes and the facilitator in his or her own home doing the class, and they can even break into small group separate breakout rooms within that classroom.
What do you see as some of the other benefits for the learners?
The learners prefer, in a lot of cases, to be in their own homes. They don't have to come out, especially in a Melbourne winter. Yeah. It suits a lot of people with young children that they don't have to leave the home. It suits various people's learning styles. There are so many different tools and techniques that you can use that can help individual students. One of them I remember that we did a podcasting project a few years back, and I made a podcast for a couple of our students with acquired brain injury, and their main problem was that they couldn't retain information in class, so they never actually entered into any discussions in the class. And I was really poring over my mind how I could really help these students to feel more a part of the group. So I made them a podcast of an upcoming session that I was going to have, and they took it home, and in 3 weeks' time we came back and had that class, and it was amazing. Both of those students, I counted the number of times they actually interacted, and they were three times with one student and 5 with another. And this was just so fantastic for them. And they came up afterwards and they said how fabulous they felt, how proud they were that they would been able to participate. Classes are delivered generally in a blended fashion. That seems to be the buzzword at the moment. Or delivered flexibly is the other way we talk about it. This means that some of the classes would be delivered in a face-to-face fashion and the others would be delivered in the online classroom, supplemented in our case with wikis, which are interactive websites, and students can access their resources from there at any time of the day or night.
Now, I believe one of your latest initiatives, talking about flexible learning, is work-based training that you're conducting in the Northern Territory.
Yes, we were very fortunate to gain some funding to do some training in the Northern Territory with some predominantly Indigenous students in a childcare centre, and we did that training more in a hands-on mentoring fashion. There is another group of students that we're now working with, some family daycare educators, and after having several trips up there to get them started and introduced to the online environment, we're now supplementing their sessions with online training. Training is really important to the family daycare educators because they are fully involved with looking after children 5 days a week. They're also involved with fostering children as well, and that really takes them 24 hours a day, so they have really no time to go off and study at a TAFE or any other institution. All early childhood staff, and that includes family daycare staff, need to have a qualification by 2014. So it is absolutely mandatory for them to get their qualification.
And I believe you're a Learn Local e-mentor for the Eastern region in Melbourne as well.
Yes, I've done that role for about 6 years and mentored several people through. We have Christine Dix from Pines and Karen George from Kanara who've come up through the e-mentor system and now are e-champions in their own right. And my most proud moment was up in Alice Springs when our 5 Indigenous students in the childcare centre actually graduated. One of our Certificate 3 students was awarded the Adult Learner of the Year. We've had another student in our diploma class who was a finalist. They were really students who'd done extraordinary things and gone through an extraordinary amount of hardship to actually gain their qualification. I could probably say that another moment was being nominated a few times myself for the Trainer of the Year.
Do you think it makes a big difference in people's lives to actually finish a qualification like that and have a career path?
We've really turned people's lives around, I think. We have some students who came in at Certificate 3 level. They've stayed with us, completed their diploma, gone off and got jobs in the early childhood industry, done their Certificate 4 in TAE or Training and Assessment, and then come back and they're now trainers working with us. And these are students that probably may have fallen by the wayside if they'd been in more structured learning environments. So I think that, the ACE sector can be justifiably proud of what it's done over the years, and I'm really proud to have been a part of all of that.
Next, the CCH Media team travels to the Avenue House to explore a community program that brings the elderly and children together in a sing-along. Let's join the Merry Melodies.
Learn Local provides quality education and training to people of all ages and backgrounds and has hundreds of locations across regional Victoria.
Learn Local gave me the opportunity to complete my schooling and get the job I wanted.
I never completed school, but I got the training I needed to get a great job.
At Learn Local, I did the course I wanted to change my career.
Learn Local, flexible, friendly and just around the corner. Take your next step with us. Authorised by the Victorian Government, Melbourne.